Hi there, it's Bonnie with So Inspired by Bonnie with another Tuesday's tip. And today we're going to discuss free mobile apps that you can use on your phone to help you with your sewing and embroidery endeavors. So I'm going to refresh my computer page over here. Give me a like or love, a shout out to let me know you're here. And by all means, if you think you have a friend out there that might benefit from this video or a group, please go ahead and share the video. No problem at all. The more the merrier, I say. Okay, it looks like the video is up and running, I think. Although it looks a little funky, so I'm not sure that it's up. I'm refreshing my page again because it looked a little funny. There we are. Okay. Don't you love live? Okay, I see that you're coming in, and hi guys. All right, so again, what we're going to discuss today are free mobile apps that you can put on your phone to help you with your sewing and embroidery. Now, I know there's some of you out there that don't even know what an app is. I know most of you do, but I know there's still some of us out there that aren't really quite sure what an app is. What an app is a little program. They can be loaded on your desktop, or, I mean, there are apps out there for your desktop or laptop or what have you, but I'm specifically talking today about those that are for your mobile phone. So I'm going to demonstrate on an iPhone because that's what I use. If you have an Android, I recommend that you just Google, not Google, but go to YouTube and they can show you how to load up an app on your Android, or you can go to your phone company and they will show you. It's really quite simple. But anyway, they're just a little software program. A lot of times they're created by manufacturers or companies that want to form a relationship with their customers or have a good PR with their customers and help the customer out in, number one, finding their product or how to use their product or things of that nature, but they're very handy. So that's kind of in a nutshell what an app is. They're really easy to install. What you're going to do is you're going to go to your smartphone, and again, I'm going to demonstrate with an iPhone because that's what we use. And since I'm using my iPhone to do the live video, I had to confiscate my husband's iPhone, but he was kind enough to let me do this and install my sewing apps onto his iPhone, which I will delete at the end of today's segment. But what you're going to look for on your iPhone is, generally speaking, on the front page, there'll be a little icon that underneath it says App Store, and it'll be blue with a big A on it. And I'm going to try to get it so you don't see the glare, but it's at the bottom there with the A. And you're just going to push on that A icon, and up will pop the apps that you currently have on your cell phone. And what I like to do is go to my search, which is towards the bottom. There's a little magnifying glass, and I just push my search, and then at the top of my phone there's a search bar. I just click on the little search bar at the top of the phone, and then I can type in whatever I'm wanting to search for. So maybe I'm searching for embroidery, so I would put in embroidery and then push the big search button at the bottom of my cell phone here. And you might get hand embroidery, you might get machine embroidery, there's various things there. But I also wanted to go by manufacturer or company. So I put in Floriani just to see what might pop up in my search bar, and then did search again. And what came up was a pretty neat little, well, a few different little apps that I thought were pretty neat. One was Floriani T, one was Floriani ST, and one was Floriani CN. And what those stand for is thread, stabilizer, and the CN stood for chrome needles. Now, you'll see the list of the apps that show up. You can push on any one. It's not installing them yet. And then you can get a brief description. If you just slide down, it'll have a brief description. There will be reviews. And there's also this handy little related icon. If you push on the related icon, it'll push up, or it'll bring up, I should say, all the related apps out there that are related to thread. So you might want to check that. You might want to check all the apps that are related to the Floriani Stabilizer app. That could be cool. So there's all different ways that you can search for an app. Once you find an app that you like, up at the top right will be an install button. You just push the install button and it will install on your phone. Now, again, I said they were really easy to take off. If you find that you've checked it out for a while and you don't like it, you can easily delete it. And I can show you that toward the end. But all these apps are free. I have run across a few apps that charge, but generally they're like $1 or 99 cents. They're very inexpensive, so it's not going to break the bank by playing with them for a while to see if there's something that would help you. Now, what are in these apps that might be helpful for us as sewists and embroiderers that we could use every day? Well, on the thread, there was things such as I could enter all the thread that I have so that when I go to the store, I know what I already have, and so I'm not picking up duplicates. Or I could make a list while I'm home and just click off and put them in my little basket there of what I would like to grab as I'm at the store. It also lists all your threads in various types. So you have rayon, polyester, variegated, all different kinds, cotton, all different types that particular company carries. Now, different companies might carry different brands of thread, so you might check out different apps. It also goes into detail about troubleshooting. So what if I'm having threads that's shredding? How can I fix that? This is all in that thread app, which when you're sewing at midnight could be beneficial when you're running into an issue and you can't just pick up the phone and ask your dealer. So it's really handy to have that, and it's all in this little phone. You're not adding a bunch of extra bulk by having big manuals to look page after page after page. It's just in this tiny little phone on an app, and it's really user-friendly. You're not going to break anything by pushing on any of the buttons to see what's behind that particular category. But on the Thread app, it has all sorts of things, like I said, troubleshooting, what's the difference between a 40 weight thread and a 60 weight thread. All of that is in there for you to have as a reference if you run into an issue. Under the and all these apps will bring up a new little icon on your phone, so you can just go there directly for your app. You don't have to go through the App Store every time you want to find the app. So for example, all my apps that I installed, you will see right down here they have like Floriani T, Floriani ST, and the CN. I also installed the Schmetz app, which is a needle app. So on the stabilizer, what I found very cool on the Floriani Stabilizer app is I can just push on it. There's a stabilizer reference, an advisor, stabilizer dealers. So if I'm visiting another town or another state and I push on the stabilizer dealers and I need to find a specific stabilizer while I'm on the road, or I want to just for grins, I can push on the stabilizer dealers. It's all sorted by state. I can go to that state. All the dealers are listed there. It'll give me the dealer's address, phone number, and email so that I can locate them and make sure that they're in the city that I'm in visiting. Or in town. You know, I'm in Texas. Maybe I want to find one in Dallas. I can look on my dealers and find the stabilizers or the dealers that carry the stabilizer I want here. Also, under the reference, under the table of contents, there's all the various stabilizers that Floriani carries. Now, don't get too hung up on this is a Floriani app. He's going to, of course, cater to his brand of stabilizers. Bear in mind, there's only 2 to 3 manufacturers of stabilizers out there on the market. Everybody puts their own name on these stabilizers. Again, there's only 2 or 3 different companies that manufacture stabilizers, so there's a lot of similarities out there in the market. So that being the case, a medium tearaway is generally going to be very similar across the board. Now, between one or the other manufacturer might be a small difference, but you can hold it up and see and compare to the Floriani stabilizer. And what I mean by that is, if I were to push the medium stabilizer under the list there, it will give me, I can read on the reference page information about the stabilizer, but Floriani actually put in videos. So if I push the play video, not only do I get information, let me turn this sideways, not only do I get information about the stabilizer, I actually get a video. Now let me kind of go through this a little bit. And she will give information on how to hoop with that, how much, let me turn down the volume so you're not hearing it, how many stitches a medium tearaway will hold, which is typically about 10,000 stitches for a medium tearaway. That's going to be a good starting point no matter what brand of stabilizer you have in your stash. So this is a very good reference to use to see how to use your stabilizers, how much will work with what project. There's also like a project advisor in there, so if you're doing a towel, it'll give you information as to which types of stabilizers to use, a wash away on top, and it'll show you what type, a clear wash away on top, as opposed to something that's real sticky that might tear away some of the loops on your towel. All of that is in the Floriani stabilizer app, and it's all on your phone. So if you're going on a retreat, you're not having to package a big manual with all the instructions. You can have it just on your cell phone and take with you to a retreat. I think it's awesome. I think it's great that these companies are being so generous with all their information to help us take things mobily with us. Again, and if you're home burning the midnight oil, as we oftentimes do this time of year because we're trying to get our Christmas gifts done or our Halloween projects done or what have you, it's great to have this handy little reference right here on your phone. On the so that's just a brief overview of everything that's included in the stabilizer app. Now if we go over here and push on the needle app, now he uses the chrome needles on the Floriani. That's why I have both the Schmetz needles as well as the Floriani needle. They're very similar because they're both Schmetz needles, but there's a few little differences between them. Again, it'll list all the dealers that are close by so that you don't have to pull out, do we even have phone books anymore? Hardly, but you can grab those right there, and it has a list of all the dealers. There's a way to organize. It will explain which needle to use for which project. So if you have a 65, 8 or 9 needle, you'd want that on very sheer fabric. All of that information is going to be in the app. And again, it's all very user-friendly. You're not going to break anything by pushing on a category to see what's hidden beneath that category and the information that's there. On the Schmetz needle app, it goes into detail about how they have all their needles color coordinated so that they're coordinated by color according to the type of needle, whether it's a stretch needle or a universal versus a size. So they've color coordinated them both ways, size as well as type of needle, and it goes into detail about that. It goes into detail about the packaging and how to properly open the package, and just all sorts of little tidbits and tips of information that might help you with your sewing and embroidery. So the apps are a great way to have information on hand when you need it, where you need it, when you're doing any sewing and embroidery, when you run into a problem. And again, a lot of them have little troubleshooting segments. So if you're having a bunch of threads show up on the bottom, or if you're having threads that's shredding, for example, in the needle app, it talks about the eye of the needle needing to be big enough to accommodate the thread that you're putting through it. And with the faster the speed you're going, like our embroidery machines can go up to 1,000 stitches a minute, that high speed creates more friction. So you might need to go up in your needle size. Maybe not so much the needle size, but instead of using a regular needle, go up to an embroidery needle or a top stitch needle. Embroidery needles and top stitch needles will have a bigger eye, or a bigger hole for the eye, versus the same size needle that's just standard. So the needle app will go into all of that kind of information, and it's very, very helpful. So I'm just going over my notes here to make sure I don't forget anything, because the apps are just awesome. They're just awesome. Speaking of the needle apps and whatnot, I'm going to pull out an oldie but a goodie. Years and years ago, when I got this is a little bit of show and tell today. I know I'm kind of breaking off here. Before I get off the target of the apps, my favorite apps, if you haven't gathered by now, are the Floriani Chrome Needle app, the Floriani Stabilizer app, because it has all those videos on how to use all the different stabilizers. And again, even though you don't have Floriani Stabilizer, a lot of the information, in fact, probably 95% of it, is still going to be pertinent and useful to you, to any kind of stabilizer. So bear that in mind. And the Floriani thread, because I use Floriani thread. You can see one wall of it back there. I have quite a stash of the Floriani thread. And then I also have the Schmetz app as one of the apps that I have on my phone. Those are some of my more favorite, at this time, mobile apps. So if you have a favorite mobile app, I challenge you to post it underneath the video here and let everybody else know what some of your favorite mobile apps might be for sewing and embroidery, because I think that's what makes it really neat, is we can help each other find the best apps out there for our hobby. Again, speaking of needles, I'll go back to my little show and tell. When I got my first embroidery machine that could do a 5x7 hoop, which was many, many years ago, I made this little needle case, and all I did was took a couple of pieces of upholstery weight fabric, so it had some body, and put them wrong sides together. And then, I think I dropped one of my packages, but I'll get it. And then I just sewed them wrong sides together. I put my initials out on the front. And then I made some clear pockets, just ran clear vinyl across it so I could see, and put all my huge stash of needles and just wound up the bag. I used to tie it with a ribbon, but I find that it stays together now after so many years all by itself, and I don't need the ribbon. But I made this, oh gosh, many, many years ago. And then I revised that because it didn't do everything I needed. I had everything stored really nice, but here's an oldie but goodie on the In the Hoop. For those of you that like In the Hoop projects, this is one of my designs. It's a needle case, and I like it because it's portable. I can take it with me wherever I go, and I can put my needles in here that I'm going to be using, and it's all labeled by size. So I have it labeled by size, and you're generally not supposed to use a needle over about 8 hours of use. So I have everything numbered 1 through 8 on a used needle that I take out of the machine that's still good, but I need to put in a different needle. I will put it with a guesstimate about how many hours I used it. Maybe I used it for a couple hours. I will put it on the 2, so I know that it's had 2 hours of use. When it gets to number 8, though, I do toss them. Needles are the cheapest thing we have as embroiderers. They cost maybe $1 a piece for a needle. That's a lot cheaper than a spool of thread or a repair on our machine, because we let a bent needle or a dull needle do some damage on our machine. And fabric is a lot more expensive. Needles are cheap. Toss them when they get a little old. Then I have this little handy marker so that when I put a needle in my machine, I put this in use marker in that size pocket so that I know what size I have in my machine, because my eyes can't see the end of the needle anymore to read what size it is. Having that as a side note, there's my little doggy guarding the house. So anyway, I can keep track of what size I have in my machine, how many hours I've used it for, as well as store them in this handy little needles storage kit. And I like this much better than my original one that I came out with that just stores all my needles there. These make great little gifts, and they're available on my website at soinspiredbybonnie.com. And please sign up for the newsletter if you haven't done so already, because we do give out a couple of free designs. One of them is a pumpkin, which is perfect for this time of the year when you join our newsletter list. If you email me a tip that I use on our Tuesday's tips, I will send you 5 sheets of 6x10 glitter flex. And this is a super sparkly heat transfer type vinyl that we use with embroidery, or you can just use with a heat press or an iron, either one, and your home cutting machine. So this is a really versatile product, and it's been really popular. With all of that being said, I'm going to go check our feed here and see if we have any questions or information. And again, I challenge you to find some really good apps and post those apps or the name of the app in our comments section here so that we can share with one another and get all the help we need when we're on the go. Okay, so let's see. Kathy says so good information and really like the needle case. I like it, and I've used it for years, like I said, but I really like my In the Hoop needle case the best because well, it was fun to make, and I have some people that have been asking for me to make some gifts for them, but it's really handy because I can keep track of what's in my machine and how many hours of use it's had as well, which was something that I was really looking for, because when I couldn't tell or couldn't remember how long I'd been using it, I was throwing away perfectly good needles, frankly. So I really like it. Glenda said, is single needle machine your choice or a 6 or 10 needle machine? That's a very good question, Glenda. I have single needle machines. I've been thinking about a multi-needle machine. The 6 needle, both the 6 needle and the 10 needle machines are workhorses. They are built to just go, 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 go. The single needles are workhorses as well, I have found. I really think it certainly depends on the type of sewing you want to do. If you're doing a lot of production work, I would definitely say you need to go with a multi-needle machine. If you're wanting to do a lot of embroidery for other folks, I would say go with a multi-needle machine because you can get in there with the free arm and do some things that you can't as easily do on a single head machine. However, if your space is limited and you want to be able to sew and embroider and just have one machine for that, I think the single head machines are great. They're doing fantastic things. I love my Dream machine, which is the same as the Destiny, so if I had the Destiny, I would love it equally well. So it really is a personal preference as to how you embroider or how you intend on doing your embroidery. So some people are lucky and have both. Maybe one day, huh? Okay, Anne Marie said this. She has an app that she said it's called So Awesome, S-E-W Awesome. And she said this app allows you to store details, images, notes about your sewing stuff, including fabrics, sewing tools, and sewing terminology, and track all of your sewing project. It's available for Android devices here. It's probably available for iPhone too. I'll have to check on that. It sounds really cool. Thanks, Anne. Dee said she loves the needle case and have made gifts for friends. They love it too. Thanks, Dee. I'm glad that they're enjoying them. I've had a lot of fun with them myself. And Lynn said she loves In the Hoop projects. They're fun, aren't they? They're just, I find it fascinating how it all just sort of comes together with an In the Hoop project. And there's a lot of creativity out there, so I think it's fun too. Someone said they couldn't find the needle case on the web. I will go ahead and post a link to that when we're done with our video, our live segment, I should say. I will post a link to the needle case so that it's easy to find, and it'll be up above the video in the little description when I get it posted. So be on the lookout for that. Let's see. Lynn says that she's already signed up for the newsletter. Is the pumpkin available any other way? Lynn, you should have gotten the pumpkin when you signed up for the newsletter. If you did not, please email me and I will send that to you personally. No problems. Just email me and explain the problem and I will get it to you. And my email, I should say, is bonnie@sewinspiredbybonnie.com, and that's S-E-W. So bonnie@sewinspiredbybonnie.com. I don't see any other questions, but again, I'm really looking forward to see what you have for favorite apps for your sewing that will help you in your endeavors and get your projects organized. Any little troubleshooting you might have that you find on your apps, and help make our sewing endeavors go a little bit more smoothly, especially this time of the year. We all need all the help we can get. I know I do. So I think we've answered everything. Yeah, I think we've answered everything. If I didn't catch your comment, because they do kind of roll over and I don't get to see them all, if I did miss your comment, I will read them after we go off the air, and I will be sure and answer at that time. We also, excuse me, we also post the live segment on our YouTube channel as well as Pinterest. So if you're not able to view us live, or if you miss something or need something repeated, be sure to go to the YouTube channel. You can search for So Inspired by Bonnie and all our videos will come up that way. You can go to the Pinterest, do the same there. Oh, I was going to show you how to delete an app. So let me sign into my husband's phone real quick. I almost forgot that. So what you're going to do to delete on the iPhone, it might be, I'm sure it is different on the Android, is you're going to hold down, just hold down on one of the icons. And then you'll see all the icons start to kind of jiggle, and there'll be an X in the top right. I don't know if you can see them. They're kind of jiggling, and there's an X. And then all I have to do is push on the X, and it'll say, do you want to really delete this? And you just push delete, and that one's gone. And I'm deleting all of these off of my husband's iPhone. And then all you have to do is push the button at the bottom, and it stabilizes everything, and nothing's jiggling anymore. They're all deleted. So it's just that easy. No fear in trying a new app, because it's easy to install and it's super easy to delete if it's one that just doesn't float your boat. So, well, I enjoyed today. I hope you did too. And thank you so much for dropping by. I really appreciate you spending some time with me out of your busy day. And I hope that you have a wonderful sewing holiday. And look forward to seeing you next week. Take care. Until then, bye-bye for now.